I've had the opportunity to be a part of NMEA, one of the chapters since at least 1980. And I can tell you that the chapters are great, the national is great, but it's one of the best professional associations I've ever been a part of. Because not only do you have great subject matter, but you have great friends after attending one. And after attending one, you want to come back. And you also have the passion that's in this room. We were at the International before, and you have the passion, and we like to share things. So I want to tell you, it's a great organization. And you might even find your spouse, which I found. I was president of NAME, and my wife, Karen, see, I got her name right this time. Dr. Karen was president of FEMSI, and actually she coordinated the first FEMSI National Conference in 1989. So I'm Mr. History today. So I did this in Mobile in 2013, and they asked me to come back and give it again. So what I'm going to do is give you some origins, some noted first, all the way through. I'm going to go real quick. But also a little bit of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now some of the, not many of the good, but the bad and the ugly are here from years back. And so I might give you a little bit of the bad and the ugly. One of my majors, undergraduate, was history. History, you can't get a job. But here's some quotes you might like. History's a pack of lies about events that never happened, told by people that weren't there. You want to live in the present. The only history worth the tinker's den is history made today. And history is more or less bunk. A couple more. You don't hate history, you hate it is the way you taught it in high school, or learned it in high school. I'm not going to teach history of NMEA. History is yesterday, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. This is why we call it the present. And people without knowledge of their past origin and culture is like a tree without roots. But finally, these two, I'll read this. Those who do not know, learn from history are doomed to repeat it. But the one I like, history is a guide to navigation in perilous times. History is who we are and why we are the way we are. I think that's a real good analogy for NMEA in navigating. So we're going to quickly navigate. I don't know what happened in 1966, but something was in the water because a lot of things happened to percolate to create this organization known as NMEA. The National Sea Grant Program was created. There was a conference in Woods Hole, Catalina Conference, Beaufort Conference, and Kingston, Carolina Conference, and I'll go a little bit through each. Sea Grant Partnership Program, celebrating its 50th year. I worked for that organization for 35 or so until I changed jobs in 2012. Pattern after land grant system, the way it works, you have a teaching element, you have a research element, and you have an outreach or extension element. And this gentleman here, Athelstein Spielhaus, who is an oceanographer in Minnesota of all places, said, why don't we have county agents in hip boots doing for the ocean what we do for the land grant for the farming community? And the most important thing in the legislation was, they said, let's have sea grant colleges in the coastal and Great Lakes states. That's a whole other example of how Great Lakes are marine credits. But they said do research, marine advisory services or extension, and marine education. And that was one of the keys because Sea Grant has been a major supporter of NMEA through the years. Number of presidents, money. I see some of them around the room right here. Woods Hole, there was a conference in Woods Hole in 1966. It's a conference in engineering. Educators from New England states started mingling with the scientists. New York, Colorado, there's St. Louis, Florida, and Ohio. And they brought together oceanography and said, let's discuss current research. Let's look at curriculum guides for ocean sciences. There's a need for teacher training programs and focus on elementary, middle, and secondary levels. So that discussion was going on. On the other side of the coast, you had Ron Linsky who established the Orange County Marine Science Floating Lab program. And they had California, Southern California Conference on Marine Education in 1969. Do you know him? You're old enough to know him, right? He's a veteran too. He won't admit it, but he's a veteran. No Craig Fernando here. And the first National Science, Marine Science Education Conference. There's some debate when NMEA's first conference was. This was a national conference, but it wasn't NMEA yet. And then there's the Beaufort Conference in North Carolina.
Excuse me, that's Beaufort.
Okay, you corrected me in
You didn't remember.
Okay, say that again. Okay, well, John Hahn, he did a program, and they had a resolution that said, let's create a marine science education association. Can you see that pretty good? Okay. And then participate in Atlanta, Gulf States, Ohio, and Illinois. Conference in Kingston. Some of you remember the Beatles, Yellow Submarine?
Yes.
Their first theme was the Yellow Submarine theme. And a Kingston resolution was created, and the steering committee was very important because they actually became the first NMEA board of directors. Wes Batten was the president of NMEA. Ned Webster was a member of FEMC for a number of years. I don't know if he's still around, but he's quite a sailor. But anyhow, they had a meeting in 74. In 76 is when our illustrious organization was created. Thayer Schaefer was a Sea Grant educator from Rhode Island, and he basically helped implement the resolution that was done a couple years before. They got articles of incorporation. They applied for provisional nonprofit status with the IRS. That later became a little problem. We had to change some things with the IRS. But no one got thrown in jail, which was good. Yeah. National Aquarium in D.C. was the official address. Bulk permit from U.S. Postal Service. Steering committee served as the first board of directors. And we advertised the first NMEA conference in California, Asilomar. All right? And we had a conference in Asilomar 2012, I believe it was. First conference sponsored by NMEA. NMEA is a nonprofit entity. Bylaws discussed and adopted. Boy, bylaws, that's one of my most favorite topics. I'm sure the board is too. Association committees were formed. First president was Eric Corporel, and first published proceedings. First issues produced, and I'm going to tell you, this is before internet, this is for computers. They did it the old-fashioned way. Some of you may remember that. We had support from, again, University of Hawaii University and University of Southern California Sea Grant. Again, that Sea Grant connection. The editor was Captain Richard Murphy, who later palled around with Christo, right? And the subscription was $15, $3 a copy, $15 a year. Well, we had a little issue with money in those early years, and so we had a publishing change, but we got support from SeaWorld. So again, SeaWorld is a very supporter of here, and SeaWorld helped support us. And listen to this quote I found. We must include the sea in all subject areas. All curricula should be marinated to create a marine literate society. So ocean literacy started way back then, when Craig was only 25 years old. In 1977, we went to Delaware. First conference with the theme, Marine Awareness, Teaching for the Future. 150 attendees from all parts of the United States. First Sea Grant workshop at NMEA, and Sea Grant's been meeting here ever since, from what I believe, even though the directors for a period of time didn't want us to. First Talking Hammer, and Robert Stegner delivered the host. Now we heard about the Stegner lecture. He passed away shortly after that and became memorialized with his lecture. 77, first newsletter issue Current. Again, Current, sponsored, MIT Sea Grant very much involved. Journal of Marine Education became SeaWorld, and editor again still was Richard Murphy. Going to 78, first NMEA chapter formed. Initial dues are $8. Lifetime member was $200, and the first honor membership was presented to Thayer Schaefer. Remember the guy who helped create it. And it was held in the state of Washington. So, NMEA publications. The last issue of SeaWorld was a 56-pager, and John McMahon, who still lives in Washington, was the president. He had to make the bad decision to pull the plug with that relationship because, again, money situation. You don't have that problem now with the board of directors. I'm sure you're flush with money, I'm sure. But we had those problems back in the back years. And Current then became the new NMEA publication. Went to Milwaukee. Again, we went to the Great Lakes to make sure that they knew that they were part of NMEA. The first Stegner Memorial Lecture, I mentioned that Bob Stegner died previously. NMEA had an affiliate, became affiliated with the National Sales Training Association, Virginia, first changed National Marine Educators. We had a problem with the IRS, with National Marine Education Association. And the story goes, the best way around it, least paperwork, was just change the name. The letter stayed the same, NMEA, but changing from education to educators makes the difference. We had first president reception, first exhibit hall with booth. Chapters received 25%. Now that was another big issue. Chapters didn't get any money when they first ran the conference. At least they cut a deal to get 25. And there's been arguments ever since. What should the split be? 25, 30, 40, 50? I don't know. Probably no controversy now, but I remember my days as president, there was some controversy. And then conference sponsors to help defray expenses. And you can see in the program today, we have a number of sponsors. 85, Williamsburg, Virginia. First elected official governor to address NMEA. Sue Gamish had some pull. She was a former Mrs. Virginia, so she had pull. NMEA auction at $2,000. First international committee that I found, at least discussion. Dues increased to 18, affiliation with NSTA in the works. Now we're affiliate member. 86, went to Cleveland. First membership committee established. Contest, chapter contest to recruit NMEA members, past president reception. First, the PIKE. The PIKE is a separate story. And if you look past presidents, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 7 past presidents there. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyhow, a lot of past presidents. The PIKE. The PIKE's raised more than $10,000, probably $20,000 or more. The PIKE basically for years, and I haven't been to the conference in the last couple of years, chapters would bid to have this skunky little fish be in their chapter for the year. It's out of my garage for a year. And then you would travel and move it around. That fish has attended many functions, Mardi Gras, Rose Bowl, Super Bowl. He even has a picture with G.W. Bush. So just think how valuable that photograph is. And here's some early pictures of the PIKE. In different years that different organizations bid, some bid up to over $1,000, and the money went for scholarships. But then the controversy, get rid of the PIKE. And here's just a couple quotes. I speak for all, the PIKE must go on, the PIKE lives on. We Fish wishes support our support from Mr. and Mrs. Fish. Andrew Wilson sacrificed the PIKE to Paley because the conference is going to be in Hawaii the next year. So let's sacrifice it to Paley. And then maybe Neil Gilbert, perhaps PIKE should take us back. And the best quote of all was by our own Craig Strait. What did he say? I have mixed feelings. I remember the good old days when I was a kid. He was distinguished. His entrance like that of the president was a highlight. Recently, his entrance seems contrived, even found in a little gory kind of like, well, Neil died. I mean, how about that? Yeah, I mean, come on. So, I'll tell you the end of the story. 1987, went to Kingston, Rhode Island. I mean, you were just there, right? 2 years ago? Last year. First major board meeting in the STA. Financial woes, big woes, tiny down the hatch is one issue recurrent. We fought for every nickel. And basically we had 2 or 3 good treasurers at that time that basically you couldn't take a breath without happening. But we got through that. 88. Senator Cruz, first long-range plan draft. How many long-range plans has there been since? I bet you more than 2 or 3. First, we become affiliated with NSTA. First conference. First session and reception and share thought at NSTA in St. Louis. I remember I was at that one. 89. Dr. Karn, you was the chair there. Now this is an interesting one. First NMEA photo contest, first conservation committee, first research committee, conference organized in record time. Poor Karn, she decided to be president of FEMS. Rick Tinnen, the president the year before, came down and met with her and said, oh, that's great. Where are you going to have the conference in 8 months? She had no idea there was going to be an NMEA conference, because my understanding is the group before had kind of bailed on her.
And they disappeared.
Yeah.
So left hanging.
So, record time. Filmsy did the conference in 8 months. Could we do that today? No. You could, but you probably did. Then we went to the Big Island. First conference, 2 locations. I only have a few compromising pictures there. Conference cookbook first created. We had a first affiliation with AAAS. We were worried that, man, we aren't going to get any attendance. Go way too wide. That was a record year. We had 600 attendees. It's a great conference. 91 in Brunswick. Updated that darn long-range plan. Is it updated now? Good. Good. Need to stabilize funding. PIKE from President. We're providing $35 worth of membership for $25. He had to push. We had to increase dues. So we got outside funding from NOAA, and again, Sea Grant to help. 92. Oh, I should also say, that's the first time I met my future wife, Miss Carl. I thought we got one. First conference whistles in Newport. I remember sure that. Bill Hasty, to bless his heart, he found some guy or person to make these little whistles. Everyone got a whistle. Can you imagine 400 educators with whistle throughout? When you were there, right? It says, tweets.
Animals, marine animals.
Yes, marine animals. Yeah. And that is what is it? A whale? First joint international project, multiple field trips, and that's our own Susan Haynes out there in the early years. And Andy Wood. New Orleans, the Big Easy. We had current index, first membership survey. Again, 3 membership issues funded. 94. This was an interesting conference. We had plans to have an NMEA conference on a cruise ship. Sue Gamish had her sister work for the cruising. I thought it was a great idea. The problem was, a lot of problems. One of the problems was, if you were getting funded to come to this, would your funder allow you to go on a cruise? Say, oh, we're going to do a marine education cruise. That was only one of many things. So, Val Chase, another former president, she had a relationship with the association, AIB, Association,
Society,
something biological.
Yes, Ecological Society.
Okay.
It's on the bottom.
Okay. There it is. Okay. To do a program in Knoxville. And again, that was something that happened within a year. And we did a side trip to the Chattanooga Aquarium, I believe it was. And all the AIDS folks went to the auction and said, boy, these guys are having fun. A lot of them attended our meetings and their meetings. Again, the camaraderie that we had. 95, we went to San Diego. First live auction program description. Beach party with Shamu. Again, we're in SeaWorld. The Stabler Extra, the Banana Slug String Band, one of Craig's favorite, right? We funded them. Controversy name change for NMEA. Some of the folks, in fact, I knew some of the folks in the Northwest said, why don't we change it and include aquatic, since we do fresh and salt water? We could just use the same initials. I forget what they do, National Marine Education and Aquatics or whatever. Well, that got shot down. I said marine means salt and fresh. So that didn't happen. Again, 3 issues of currents. Again, we had to find people to help fund current at that time because we didn't have a lot of money, and subscription costs went up. Durham, 1966, first permanent part-time office. Now the office is located in Maryland. But we had the first program. Tina Shoemaker was the first, and then Jeanette Bossard was a longtime secretary and administrative assistant, and she passed away 3-4 years ago now. And so we have the Bossard Memorial, and her daughters are going to be here on Thursday to help give the Bossard Award. And then we had 2 current publications. 97, we went to Chicago. President first had the baby. I was president the previous year. I didn't have the baby. Maureen Wilmot had the baby. If you remember, Maureen Wilmot was president. And she brought the baby to the board directors. We had dinner at the Shed Aquarium. Golf bleacher bumps. Some members took a side trip and went to see the Cubs game in right field. We didn't get kicked out. But then another interesting side, this is kind of not the bad and the ugly, but interesting. On the way back from one of the functions, some of the NMEA members bribed the bus driver to commander the bus to go to the House Street of Blues to spend the night. Bill, you pray on that.
No, I didn't do anything.
And they had a heck of a time, but they have stories to tell that I can't. Again, 2 issues funded by the Henry Foundation. 88, we went to Humacao, Puerto Rico. First conference held at a resort. There were some issues with housing and that, and the board had to step in to help make lodging arrangements, which was kind of interesting. I think you had to even change bits, didn't you, Craig? Field trips, Yankee Rainforest, coral reefs, and again, 3 issues. We're moving along. Charleston, first low country boil, southern plantation, field trips, winter sports, and here's one of our past presidents, John Tyndall. He still dresses like that. 2000, again, we went back to Long Beach, to California. First buddy program established, according to my records. Is that right? Pretty close? I guess so. We had a 2-day retreat, long-range planning. Do you do 2-day retreats now? 3-day? Sometimes. We went to various beaches, and interesting, the Grunions were in. You know about the Grunions, where they come in? And I remember it was a moonlit night, and 200-300 marine educators were out there watching the Grunions come in and do their thing. It was a lot of fun. You had 1 issue current. 2001 Victoria, we remember that well. We were co-chairs of that one. We did a spoof on 2001 Space Odyssey, and we developed a little video where Gene Williamson, Bill Hasty, and I dressed up as gorillas, and we spent 2-3 days filming ourselves, and then we used that as a promo. Luckily, we didn't get thrown in jail. But we had great field trips. We had fake tattoos for everyone. We had a number of Korean educators come, and we had a sushi recipe. That was a little controversial because the year before, the conference order said we're not going to have fish because of, we're capturing too much fish. So this year we said we'll do it too. We're going to have raw fish sushi. So that's what we did. Of course, by committees. That wasn't me. We went to the Race to Hell Gate, estuaries, New London, Connecticut. How many were at that one? A few. Yeah. So we had oceanographic survey ship, tall ships, lobster baits, sea channies.
In the pouring rain.
In the pouring rain.
And we were dancing on tables.
Oh,
yeah.
With Dixie.
You didn't even know it was raining.
No.
See, those are side stories. But I guess an important policy thing is, at that time, the U.S. Commission on Ocean Policy was talking about what are we going to do with ocean policy. And NMEA did a concerted effort to develop a report. A lot of us testified at various regional meetings, and we sent some recommendations in to Ocean Commission. We went to Wilmington. First international committee sets up sea exchanges with other countries. First history website. NMEA has a visa machine for the first time. We have the 21st century. And a membership profile was sent to U.S. Policy Commission, again, to advance science and ocean literacy. 2003, first chapter Twister. Now that was, and you know who the first team one was?
Yeah.
It was Florida, the first one.
Yeah.
Florida. I was the captain. I wasn't a twister, I tell you. My McGuire is a part of that team. And we had 5 issues of current, so we're getting money back. And there were these pirates that kept running around.
Where was this one?
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah.
2004, we came back here to St. Pete, to Florida. 2004, first we had international breakfast. We had past president circle recognized. That was a little issue. The past president, could we get involved? And some of the committee folks, the board said, "But what are you going to do? Are you going to try to take over? You're a past president." And we basically said, we just want to get together. There's no rules. All we want to do is get together and drink and tell lies about it. And that tradition has continued ever since. And then first NMEA Endowment Fund, and at that time, I don't know what it is, but there was a figure that maybe that was the goal, we wanted to reach 300,000. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Have we reached it?
Oh, yeah.
There you go, see, that's great. Special issue U.S. Commission on Ocean Policy was in current, and then we got three issues again funded. We went back again to Hawaii. First time that IPMN was kind of, I think, organized. I don't know if that's, the first time that we had IPMN, and Harry was here, was in, here we go. That was in Long Beach.
That's when we conceived.
We conceived the idea. When we were in Long Beach, I met Harry for the first time, and we're sitting in breakfast, and we're saying, let's do something for the Pacific Rim. At that time, I worked for the University of Washington. And out of those discussions, IPMN funded. And the first meeting was it in Hawaii?
Yeah.
And then since,
Piggybacked on to the.
That's right.
Meeting.
so IPMN is the International Pacific Marine Education Network. And that's been held in Hawaii now, Australia, Chile, Japan, Fiji. There was a coup, so they had to go to.
Oh, we went back.
You did?
Eventually.
Well, you did Fiji eventually. Okay, under new leadership, I imagine.
Mhm.
And then this year it's going to be in Manado, Indonesia. First video streaming conference. The NMEA office first destroyed. Remember the hurricanes? It was completely wiped out. A lot of records wiped out. Likely we had some digital copies of some of this stuff. First electronic NMEA news media via the bridge. And NMEA endorsed the ocean literacy principles. A lot of NSC members helped create the ocean principles. But it was the first time that was endorsed. We rebranded the NMEA logo. Board funds redesigned the website. Gaming issues were again in NMEA news. Gaming was kind of old veterans or forks would have something that they could write about anything they want. I don't know if that still continues today, but it was something that gave the old veterans and past presidents board something to do.
They call it a blog now.
A blog, oh, a blog. Okay. I like gamming. I like gamming better.
We'll take your block.
Yeah. Again, the last days of the PIKE, but I hear the PIKE is revision. Did we do a sacrifice to palate? No, because New York decided to buy the PIKE, and they moved it to New York, and then it was retired and sat in the dust in the offices of Biloxi for a number of years. And then I just saw a picture recently that it's back.
Oh, it's back.
Okay. See,
Back to be stolen.
I missed the last. Yeah, it's stolen. That's what
We'll find that book.
I know where it is.
Okay, I'm going to move on. New York, a lot of session speakers, 8-course Chinese menu. I wasn't at this conference, unfortunately, but I heard it was a really, really great meeting. So I haven't missed that one. How many were there and thought it was a great idea? I'm sorry that I missed it. Once you become a member of NMEA, you feel bad when you have to miss any conference, because it's not only the great information, it's the friends that you don't see. And it's the stories that you remember.
Chinese language.
Sorry.
2006, again, Ocean Literacy Committee sets up work draft to do scope and sequence of ocean literacy's essential principles. Some of the leadership is here in this room. Some participate in National Conference on Ocean Literacy. Long range plan again? Let's see, reviewed and updated. That's the 5th time in my slides, I think. And then we did a special issue current on the National Ocean Science Board. 2007, first NMEA news printed in color. First gamming on history page. Now it's blogging. First committee on traditional knowledge was created. Whitley, we had a boogie cruise. We had 4 ships going out. You could pick the Sedate cruise, you could pick the cultural cruise. Guess where most of the hardcore leadership group was on? They were on the boogie cruise.
Yes,
There was pole dance. I remember that.
there was a poll.
I remember some of us old vets said, "Oh, how disgusting." But when Adam did it, it was really good.
I didn't do anything like that.
2008, we went to Savannah on the historical Savannah River. You could see the boats come right by the hotel room. And Session on International Reef, Ocean Literacy. First NMEA news digitized. First digitized database. We made the conversion from typewriter to computers, somewhere along that line. 2009, we went to Monterey. Again, we went back to the Silmar, at the meeting of the Silmar. And we met at the Monterey Bay Research Institute in the aquarium. Tide pools, the Coast Track, and the Banana Slug String Band was there and created an album with Cozy support. Did they make money? Did we get any royalties on that one? No.
But it's a good album.
It's a good album. It's a great album. It's a great album. And there's two former presidents, Roseanne Fortner and Sharon Walker, and I know Roseanne is here. So they, those past presidents pop up all over the place. 2010, we went to Gatlinburg, from the mountains to the sea. There was a real-time workshop, if you remember, where there was input that was needed almost immediately for the science education. I remember, I wasn't part of the group. I remember the group just working feverishly while we were out enjoying some moonshine. You could buy moonshine on the street. We went to the Uber Gatlinburg tramway, and you should have seen, they had this, like the ski slide, but it was like a concrete slide, and then you could go down and scoot. That was one of the most fun things that we had. And then we had a hoedown, and a number of folks went to the Dollar Mountain Dixie Stampede. So we got a real sense of culture in that area. 2011, back to Boston. We have a YouTube promo singer there, Bob Rook. I remember that. I think, how many million hits did that get?
I don't know. We haven't used that song in a little while.
You haven't?
I know, it's been a while.
I think you ought to bring that back.
It didn't come back.
It really clears the room out. I didn't say that. Beantown Bash, doing aquariums, field trips, 4th of July.
You have to add one thing to your slide next time you use it. MC was 4th.
That's right. I missed some of the international stuff. I know, I remember that. 2012, we went back to Alaska. Again, traditional lodge, very important. Seafood barbecue. First hiring of a social media manager.
Nice.
Strategic planning process continued.
Rachel.
Rachel in one of his paintings. And there's an ad hoc committee, how to become a chapter. 2013, we went to Mobile, Alabama. And with Richard Love, who wrote Author Left Child in the Woods. This is the first time we gave the Pacific Memorial Award. We had a fantastic mini Mardi Gras parade. Throwing beads, parade. I don't know how the people got the beads, I'm not going to ask, but some people had all kinds of beads. Evening at the Dauphin Island Sea Life Estuarium, dinner and dance at the Five Rivers. I remember your future president singing Alabama, right? On stage, right? I remember. It's too bad we didn't get that on tape. You and Bob ought to do a duet.
Yeah, Bob could listen.
Yeah, and they have cooking classes, kayaking, exploring. We're getting close. Again, I wasn't at these last two, so some of the lives I got to put in here. But Annapolis, and this is where NMEA headquartered to Maryland during that year.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Had a tour of the Naval Academy, and this stuff I got kind of in the web. Was all that sort of halfway true? Adam? Can you put some juicy stuff in for next time?
Okay.
That's, if you can
You have
remember.
to be there to get the juicy stuff.
I know. I know. 2015, again, Newport, panel of ocean experts, first International Global Ocean Literacy panel. And I see at least 3 who are on that panel, maybe 4 in this room. 4, maybe 5. And then adventures to Block Island, whale watching, kayaking, sailing, cruising, the traditional stuff. And then, here we are today. We're going to have a traditional blessing. Great speakers from Rick Spinrad is a very strong supporter of, I think, NMEA, Sea Grant, Ocean Science Bowl. I've known him for a number of years. A number of shark experts. I know a lot of those experts are going to have a great discussion on that. Sea turtles, songs of the national parks. The first NMEA Youth Summit Conference.
There was a youth summit in 2014.
That's right, there was some conference.
Yeah, 2015.
I'll remember that one. And the evening at SeaWorld Orlando and Aquarium. And then, to what's your appetite? Next year is going to be Charleston.
Right.
So, thank you. With talking about getting this on the NMEA website. And maybe we'll do an article, and maybe I'll be contacting you to get some real dirt to make it a real good top-selling 10 novel. So thank you again, and again, you're all my friends and colleagues.